You touched on the notion of what I would almost refer to as task completion or earning the badge, in order to say I did that content. One of the things that AI is bringing forward in even more meaningful way is the notion of personalization of learning. The idea of us being able to differentiate to a very high degree the needs of the learner. And I think that there are many parts of that are going to be good and positive. But you touched on something that I think many educators thinking about this direction are worried about. And that is, number one, it is always easier to do it by ourselves because I can go fast. It's the old, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. I think that the risk of personalization of learning is that it is moving away from that concept of the team, the collaboration, everything else. It's also possibly removing and reducing friction. And we know that friction is incredibly important in consolidating learning, and friction is incredibly important to be able to feel and experience in our gut. And can you talk a little bit about, where AI could take us down the wrong path and what educators and schools need to be mindful of as we think about faster, quicker, more individualized? My child can just go online with this program and earn all their credits by themselves, and they'll be done in 1.5 years rather than 4. And isn't that a great thing? Talk a little bit about what we want to be careful about.
We talk so much about personalization in a school environment where it's fundamentally community-based and collaborative, that we give students the wrong impression that, that you're really not getting the best deal by being stuck with all the other people in your classroom. That in the best education should be personalized. It should be all about you. And I thought that was really gold because yes, I think we're giving students that impression that you could have completed this task by yourself much faster, much more efficiently. But I think you also made a really clear distinction between task completion versus real learning and doing a great job with that task. It's not so hard to complete a task, especially the way that learning structure right now is delivered into little packages. Like this is the lesson on, again, sorry, I'm picking on titration. This is a lesson on titration. These are the little module you're gonna complete, and then you already move on to the next. So that's again very limited view of what learning is. And again, I think having these personalized AI tutor, it is advancement, is a good idea in some instances, but it cannot be the dominant model of education. And what I'm really concerned about right now in the AI in education space is because it's so much easy to create an AI tutor and give it to every kid, then creating another AI system, for example, to enable better collaboration among children. And so I'm worried that this narrative around efficiency, around personalization, and our larger society or other tech companies' incentives on making money quicker is going to drive education to the wrong path, that giving our learners the wrong impression that that's what matters, that's what learning is. The thing is, I think it's always a shock to students when they go to a real workplace and an internship, that they realize they have to work with all of these people. There's no single company or workplace in the world like there's one person in this, they did all the, even that exists, the impact and scalability of their work is very limited. And we are fundamentally, like a social species. We need one another. And I think that's what makes school a wonderful environment for students to start to experience being with one another. Of course, now with AI, to be honest, if you learning just about content, yes, you can just do it at home, like with a computer. But what's the point of coming to a school and being with one another? Is actually learning to be with one another. And unfortunately, I don't think our society has done a good job learning to be with one another, to living with different perspectives and living with disagreement and frictions, and we didn't value these moments as opportunity for growth, and I think that's really unfortunate. And I really hope that AI is, to be honest, it's so lonely just to interact with the AI all the time, or like with a digital platform all the time. I hope that's gonna drive us wanting to be with each other more, but I also worry that this notion of like AI companion, being a perfect companion, always agreeing with you, so agreeable, and it's really, especially when for children at certain developmental stage, they might shy away from their peers and from each other, and I think that's really sad. And I think as educators, we need to be intentional about this and create opportunity for learners to be with each other, and value this process of friction.